It's coming with some problems. Some problems.
Little black book, you know what time? Why my voice is gone cootie car. Want to know your name? Beautiful, baby. Little Black Book, you already know what time it is. Cool, we're here to review to you episode 10, and we're going to start off with Mike and Shay. Do you know what? This has been a beautiful journey to watch, and if you guys have followed Little Black Book, we've been talking about Mike and Shay since the beginning, baby. Since they obviously, decided that it's them two and them two against the world. You get me? The Bonnie and the Clyde. Cool, so the first thing obviously scene that we see is that them in the car, and they're talking and chatting, and one thing I want to say is, definitely the feelings towards each other are legit, and the reason why we know that is because the eye contact.
Although Shay and I have a very strong connection, we still have a lot of things we need to figure out. You're so beautiful.
Let me tell you something about the eye contact. If you see it, it's intense, it's searing, it's fiery, it's hot, and you can see that they're holding each other's eye contact. It's slightly different from Tiffany and Alex's. When I see
and soul searching and talking to my family, this is what I need and this is what I want. You know what I'm saying? So
Tiffany and Alex holding each other's eye contact, it's not as intense. So Mike and Shay definitely have fire within them. I'm not saying it's better than that Alex and Tiffany. I'm just saying that because of both people's character, the way they stare at each other is so intense. I love the fact that obviously, Mike had his head tilted back against the headrest, and then obviously he's looking at Shay, and he said something to Shay which was like, you're so beautiful. And she was like, stop.
You're so beautiful.
Oh, don't do that.
Like,
and it's like she said, it's like she's back 16 again. It's like when you first fall in love when you're younger, and someone's telling you how they feel about you, and you feel about them, and it's like, what? This is mad. So I love the fact that they have that intimacy and that great kind of chemistry. One thing I would say as well that that Shay obviously has got a hard shell, and so when he complimented her saying she's so beautiful, she was like, oh, stop. And some of us are like this. We've gone through so many trials and tribulations and so much tests, so much pain, that when someone compliments you, you can't really truly accept it fully. You know what I mean? You have to throw a little something in there. Or some people, like myself, if someone says, oh, you look nice, I'll be like, you look nice too. No, I mean what I mean, but I'm saying that I can't accept the compliment without throwing it back, because I'm so used to not having that. Do you know what I'm saying? So this comes from when you're younger, but yes. So I saw that when he threw the compliment, "You're so beautiful," and it's important to understand words are key, because Mike didn't say you're so sexy. He said you're so beautiful.
you're so beautiful.
And in that setting, in that intimacy, that was so important, because that lets us know where his mind is actually at. He's actually down for this. This is not a thing where he's trying to have sex. It's not a thing where he's trying to move to the girl and do a wild thing. This is him genuinely wanting to build a relationship with a woman that he desires and is beginning to love. I'm going to say beginning because at the end scene, she said, you're making me want to fall in love with you. And he said,
Let me fall in love with you.
I can definitely see myself falling in love with you. I do.
I'm not saying that their relationship is on the rocks or anything. What I'm saying is that in relationships there are different levels, how quickly people fall into love. It doesn't mean that people are not in the right place. It just means that people are not at the point yet to say, oh, I love you. You know what I'm saying? So we all fall in love at different kind of times, if you want to call it that time. Do you know what I mean? It's rare that both people just fall in love at the exact same time. Do you get me? So definitely he has there's a feeling for her and a deep affection for her. One thing I would say is obviously as well that when he went into the house, love the fact that obviously he showed her the postures.
Rumila Ray or Rumila Dide.
The good thing about Ifa that I like is you look at the action of a person.
This is Nigerian postures and stuff like that, and obviously Ifa is a Yoruba spiritual religion. One thing I'm going to say is I don't know what Shay's faith is. But I want to put this point across. If ever you're in a relationship with somebody who has different faith beliefs from you, oftentimes it's not a good look. What I mean by that is you're not compatible. And religion plays a huge part in the way people think, feel, and behave. And so if you don't agree with the think, feel, and behave of that culture or that religion, then you don't need to be there. You're wasting time. And actually what you're going to cause yourself is a further injury. Yeah? So for me, the way I saw it was that the Ifa religion is never a problem unless Shay is not of that religion. And then she would have to either adopt the religion, or two, she becomes, we call it nonchalant. So you don't really care whether you do or don't. You're not there, but you're not also opposing it. Or three, you're gonna have to walk away. Because if your faith is different, then it will collide against what he's bringing. But I don't know what Shay's religion is. As a Christian myself, I would ask anybody who's a Christian, don't marry somebody who's not a Christian. Okay? I know you probably think, yeah, but love cannot conquer this one. Let me tell you something. God is a jealous God. You understand? So that relationship will cause so much different pitfalls you will not be able to understand. Not only that, your kids in future, what are you going to teach them? Are you going to give them your faith? You're going to give them your faith? You're going to give them what we're going to do? We're going to do mix and match. And mix and match, let me tell you, I've spoken to many people who have come from mixed faith relationships, and the turmoil in their head is crazy. Which side do they choose? And it's almost as if they're choosing a parent when they're choosing which faith to go after. So deep that in your head, that it's a long-term thing. Remember, I also about generational effect. What is a ripple effect in the water? You get me? So just deep in that. But yeah, I mean, I love it's funny because obviously, you know, his spiritual father, he went to his spiritual father to find out whether Shay is correct for him. And it's interesting because a lot of us, even though you're atheists and stuff like that, people consult things that are bigger than them. Because the truth of the matter is, as a human being, we all want to submit to something greater. It's interesting that you would consult spiritual powers for this relationship. Do you get me?
We consult goddess of water, goddess of love.
Or casting lots. And it's quite funny that they would do that. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so it's quite interesting in that regard. One thing I would say is that I noticed Shay said, "What is going on?" Like in the cutscene, right? And the only time I've heard her say "what's going on" was the last time was in the mixer, when she didn't understand what was going on over there.
Mike is rocking back and forth. I didn't know if it was a part of the ceremony or what's going on. I had never seen him like that before. He's always cool, calm, collective, and he was like Rain Man over there rocking. And I was like, what is going on?
She was looking at the thing going, Mike, what's Mike doing? What the hell's going on? Like, you're moving a bit mad. And it's the exact same thing. That what's going on is looking at Mike saying, what's going on? It's a bit mad. Like, you have to understand. So I'm looking at long term, because in the immediate effect, you can sometimes say, look, oh, I'll allow this to pass. I'll allow this to pass. And then a year down the line, you're like, oh, actually, no, I can't allow that to pass. I'm not down with that. So that what's going on is very important for long term. Like, I believe they're so beautiful. I believe they're very compatible in a lot of areas, but they have to check that part. Is she going to be okay following the Ifa? Do you see what I'm saying? Because obviously the Ifa is a very big part of his life, and so therefore it will influence his actions and decisions. So if you're cool with that, then you're good. Oh, when they were sitting down and talking, I noticed Mike is so positive with his body language, and what he was doing was he had his body towards Shay, but also the gentleman as well. So even though even though he was sitting down, he wasn't facing directly the guy who's the spiritual leader, but rather his body was turned to the side so that he could face both Shay and both the man, which is very key because it shows how much he cares about Shay and how much that he wants her to accept what's going on here, because it's a very big part of his life. So the openness of his body language is just it's to make you feel comfortable. And do you know what I'm saying? Because Shay had it straight, because I believe that she was uncomfortable.
Mike is rocking back and forth. I didn't know if it was a part of the ceremony or what's going on. I had never seen him like that before. He's always cool, calm, collective, and he was like Rain Man over there rocking. And I was like, what is going on?
Ogun and Yeye Osun is speaking.
And uncomfortable is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a case of, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what, this is new to me. Do you get what I'm saying? So her body language was hands on knees, shoulders very straight, and facing the guy. She wanted to show no disrespect because she's not sure how to behave. But Mike was cool because that's a spiritual father. He knows what he can and can't do. So he's opened his body up and he's facing both parties. Like, the guy was just trying to, and he was rocking, as Shay said, he was rocking back and forth. And he's rocking back and forth because, you know what, if Shay gets accepted here, he can fully move forward. That's for him. Do you get what I'm saying? Because the reason why he can fully move forward is because it's a spiritual power. The spiritual powers are meant to know things that we don't know, and so therefore the spiritual power says yes, you can move forward, deep it. It's kind of mad, isn't it? So yeah, it's a tight one still. it's interesting because when the guy said that, you know, this one, you know, she's a fiery one and she got the devil in her tongue. Obviously, yes, we know she can cut and she's got, you know, words that are very sharp. She can do it at her time, and we saw that in the house. And you know, she even said she was self-aware and said, "Look, I'm going to rein it back 25%, 25 again." So she's at 50 basically.
Okay, looked like he hit the nail directly on the head. I'm cranking it back 25%, but I know I need to crank it back another 25.
Are you willing both to make the adjustment?
Yes, Papa. I just want to make sure who I'm putting myself in their hands, that they're worthy of that.
She's going to rein it back again. And what I started to realize is that any woman who is hard on the outside and doesn't want to let no man in is waiting for the right kind of guy to be able to penetrate the hard shell. There is a hard shell that certain women have, and they're looking for the right guy to submit to. Because I've always said this, every woman wants to submit. They just haven't found the right guy to submit to. You see, when you find the right guy that will take care of you, that will love you, that's concerned with you, that's has his ambitions are towards you, the hard shell that you have of hurt, pain, your walls that you've built up to protect yourself come down to the point that she's submitted and said, "Look, I'll rein it back 25 even more." And she's like, "I know I need to rein it back." Do you see what I'm saying? To the point that at the very end, she even said, it was a hard no to have a child, but it's a hard yes now. And deeper, like I said to you, I said the reason why she was so angry in the house is because she had already, the hard yes was even then. In fact, it was before then. To get me, the hard yes was before then. The hard yes was when she saw him in the mixer and he was moving mad and she had to tell him off that he was moving the mixer. Because like I said, she didn't tell the truth. The truth of the matter was, I've actually considered a whole new position. I've shifted from this hard no to a hard yes.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, you've changed my mind about all of that. Like, I was a hard no.
What is it? What is it now?
It's a hard yes.
What? Everybody having a baby.
Man, you're here messing around. Don't even think about it. I'll cut a nigga. Do you know what I'm saying? So, for me, I understood that when she said obviously it's a hard yes, that means everything before that, she was trying to say to him, listen, you can't move the way you're moving and expect me to move. Do you get me? Like I said to you, don't let someone pull out the whole world from you, and I'm not willing to give you the whole world. Never. You understand? Cool. And obviously the Baba also said as well, like, you know, you two need to be careful what you say to each other.
Have a good relationship. Y'all need to calm down, speak to each other calmly, listen well.
Yeah, what you say to each other is 100. It's a lot. Because whatever you say, you can't take it back. It's like being on the internet. Once you said it, listen, someone screenshots, it's gone, cuz. Once you said it, it can't be taken back. And one thing about words is they stick around. So if the person hears a word, if it's good or bad, it sticks around. And you know, like I always said, the word is like poison, or it can be an antidote. So you have to deep it. Whatever you're saying, that's what you're saying to them too. If you're in a relationship and you've said something, you have to be very, very careful. And the thing about men is, yeah, we got fragile egos, bruv. I know women, look, men too shouldn't, I'm going to say so, men should never, ever be loose with their tongue and release poison into a woman. Never. And vice versa, women should never release poison into a man, because it's not forgotten. Do you get me? From both parties. One thing I would say that about men though is that, you know, men, we're so fragile of our ego. When it comes to something that's about our ego or about our masculinity, when something's said about it, like for instance, if a woman says, "Oh, you're such a little girl," this will stick in a man's mind forever. Listen, and from that point onwards, the way he treats you could be different. Never, look, I'm going to say this, never say that. Never. Because once it's said it can't be taken back it. Once it's said it can't be taken back it. You get me? So, there are certain things like that, you know, oh, you're such a sensitive, and it's ways, the tone that you said it is such a sensitive person. He's such a little crybaby. Oh, then that's when, you see, when you say things like that which touch the masculinity area of a man, those words cannot be taken aback. They can't be taken aback, man. And when they can't be taken aback, the man can then begin to shift his behavior so that he tries to overcompensate for that. Trust me, I've been there, I already know, kids. But yeah, that's one thing. Words, very, 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 very important. Also, I see where the pressure of having children, and why Mike is so like, you know what, I want to have a kid, I want to have a kid, I want a kid. That language is formed from his baba. His baba said, listen.
So settle down, treat her good, y'all can blossom together. Maybe I get some nieces and nephews.
We're working on it.
I can't wait to have nieces and nephews, but did not say I can't wait to see you lot get married. Hold on a minute. A minute ago you were saying, listen, they need to watch what they're saying, but now you're saying, I can't wait for nieces and nephews. Majiji, like, what do you mean? Like, why haven't you said, did you see? I'm very conscious about language that said, I can't wait for nieces and nephews, but you didn't mention the fact they haven't got married yet. Because usually the marriage should come first, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, again, the language that Mike is using is formed by his baba. So I want to let you know that, listen, sometimes when you see certain behaviors, language that's used, words that are formed, the way someone behaves, it is from the father or the mother. They have taken it from what they've seen and then puts it into them, because you are a representation. You've been made in their image, and therefore you've picked up their traits, which is why as a Christian, you know, you've got to spend time with God, because then you become more like him. But if you don't spend time with God, you don't become more like him. But it's just that simple. You get me? That's through prayer and the word and obviously worship. Cool. So yeah, so it's important to understand that, you know, spending time with a parent will show you what they're like. Do you get me? So I picked up that. I was like, oh, Baba said that he, you know, coming from nieces and nephews. That's where the language is coming from. Yeah. So I noticed Mike was about the Baba said, you know, you've brought other girls here. Are you serious about this girl now? It's like,
this is not your first time bringing a lady here.
No.
Well, are you serious this time?
Yes, Baba.
This one is going to be fiery. I'm telling you.
I was like, wait, hold on a minute. You brought other girls here, Mike. What, is it a test that they come here? Or, you know, I know that people bring people to their parents, don't get it twisted, but that's because when they believe that the person they're going to marry. But he said something like this. He said, are you actually serious about this one? Which means that he's bringing people that he's not serious about beforehand to the Baba. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, so I had to deep. I was just thinking about, like, I'm not, this is not me insulting Mike. This is not me actually downgrading. Just as observation as to why he's brought other girls to Baba. And, you know, what was the purpose? If you weren't really serious about them, what was the purpose? Do you know what I mean? Cool. Interesting that obviously when Shay was, when the tables were flipped and Shay obviously wanted to invite Mike over, obviously speaking to her mum, you can see the resemblance in the two. And you can see where the hardness or the strength in her comes from. It's from her mum. Very wise woman too. Interesting as well that Shay said, obviously, basically, if my mum sees something and I didn't see it, I'm going to have to trust blindly. And I want to say this, that every relationship that you have with somebody else carries more than you two's voices.
I don't care how much I like Mike. If she sees something that's not right and I can't see it, I'm just going to have to blindly trust her. You know, it could be grand closing.
So it will still be your two voices, but through your voice, there may be other voices that come through. So, for instance, Shay just said, listen, if my mum says it, I'm going to trust it blindly. Now, Shay's mum may not speak directly to Mike and say, listen, you're not good for my daughter, but the way she'll say it to Shay will understand that, okay, Mike's not good for me, and tell you. What voice are you hearing? Only Shay's. But Shay's voice influenced by who? Her mum. So you have to deep it. Your marriages, your relationships right now are influenced by influencers who have a voice. So Baba and Shay's mum are the influencers in this. They consider their voices to be the most influential. But underneath that, there will be friends who they consider to be wise or cool, or who they feel have a different perspective to them. They'll be able to say something about the relationship. Their voices also too will function within the relationship. And it's very important to understand where a voice is coming from. That's why I have to have the spirit of discernment, my friend. So listen, when you deep that certain voices are not of your partner, and it's come from somewhere, you can say, listen, where's that come from? Because that wasn't you. Do you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's used illegally. And what I mean by that is that you see that certain men, when they are dating a certain girl and they're messing around with that girl, and the girl always takes and the girl doesn't ever stop him from moving mad, yeah? And, you know, he just keeps on cheating on her, do whatever he wants, he talks disrespectful to her, and she's always like, oh my God, why are you always doing this to me? Like, it's all like, you know, pity kind of thing, right? And then the girl suddenly one day comes and says, listen, I'm not standing for this anymore. And he asks her, what do you mean, where's this coming from? Where's the strength coming from? Because that's not what he's expected. Because he's used to her not standing up for herself. Where's the strength coming from? And maybe she spoke to her friend, and the friend says, you need to stand up for yourself. Do not have that anymore. The strength has come from somewhere. Where? Because another voice, an influence has spoken into her. And therefore now when she voices her opinion, it's coming from a different place. it's come from a different place. Do you get me? So that's an illegal, we call that an illegal one when a man will use it and manipulate a woman. But I'm saying that that strength that she received came from another voice. So deep in your relationships, you have to know the person. You know what I mean? And when you begin to know the person, you begin to know where a voice is coming from. You know, I've been in several relationships where someone says something, I'm like, that was a bit left. Where's that come from? Like, and I have to ask it, where did it come from? Because at the end of the day, you have to be very careful. Not every influence or not every opinion is correct that comes into your relationship. Certain opinions, okay, are observations, but they may not be what's actually happening inside. They may not have the full picture. Therefore, some of the opinions that come through, you have to say, listen, nah, allow it. See, as I said that, when it was Adam and Eve, did the snake talk to Adam? The snake didn't talk to Adam, the snake talked to Eve. And what did Eve do? Eve told Adam, listen, eat the fruit from the tree. The snake didn't say it, but Eve did, because the voice of the snake had infected her and she now began to speak to Adam. Deep it. Alright, cool. So be very cautious when it comes to relationships and what people are saying. Get to know the person so you know where a voice is coming from. Be observing where voices are coming from. Because when Ashley met Alex, she said, oh, I see where he gets his, like, you know, charm from and everything like that. Because she can now see where the source of where it's coming from. And if you can now see the source of where it's coming from, you can begin to say, hey, certain things are good, certain things are, okay, man needs to just, you know, observe that because don't really like that, bum, but at least I know where it's coming from. If you know where it's coming from, you can get at the root of the issue, then you can begin to cut at the root of the tree. You don't cut the middle of the tree, you don't cut the trunk of the tree, you cut at the root of the tree so that you get the root of the problem. Alright, cool. This relationship is going to be very, very long if the person considers their voice very important. And I would even say, listen, if the people who she considers to be important are not on your side, you're facing an uphill struggle. I'd say probably might want to really consider whether this is really the relationship for you. You're not married. I'm talking about those who are not married. I'm talking about those who are going into a relationship. You might want to consider whether this relationship is for you, because those voices can nuke you at any time. Because like I said with Adam and Eve, it only took a few voices to speak to Eve and now she's telling them to eat the fruit from the tree. It will only take a few voices and the woman or the man is telling you some nonsense. And you're like, where's it coming from? So deep it that, there's nothing wrong with having people that you trust and that you talk to and that you listen to and that you follow their advice. But you've got to be very careful because someone's going to give their experience when it comes into that advice. Oh, you know, with me, you know how, and then the mum even said it, she said, you know, I don't trust no one on face value, and da-da-da.
People like you to take them at face value, and I've never been able to just take in face value.
Right.
Take a minute, just like I said to you about picking a lifetime partner.
And it's good, but someone else may trust them on face value, and it may work out for them, but because of your experience, you're now telling your daughter the same way. Not a problem, but look, I'm just trying to let you know, listen, that's where advice will come from. It comes from an experience. Do you get me? A lot of times for people, it comes from an experience. So people can't be unbiased sometimes when they're giving advice. So deep it, you know, you have to be very careful where your source of information is coming from into you, and you need to be very careful where source of information is coming from into your partner. Maud. Yeah. So obviously, yeah. So and Mike even said himself, you know, he's got a little bit more work to do to convince the mum, because Shay Light said she trusts her mum with her life. That lets you know that the mum is a pillar. And if you do not get the pillar on side, there is no foundation here. You can't run. Because Shay considers her mum to be that. You know what I'm saying? Number one. So if you don't get number one on side, everything else is lost. You know, the Bible says, you know, your gift will bring you before kings and queens. You know, kings and queens often bring gifts to each other, right? But your gift, your talent, or your gift will bring you before kings and queens. And here for Mike, he brought a little gift, you know, to the mum as a present to say, like,
You just bust in my house.
Hey, Mama.
Hi. Mama, this is Mike.
Meeting Shay's mom is a big step for me because my mom, she's still my world. So
again, it's one thing I've actually picked up. When you're going anywhere, like for instance, you know, your missus or your, I'm going to speak to a men majority, but when you go to your missus or you go, yeah, missus family, whatever, take something. That doesn't have to be big. Take a little something. You know what I'm saying? A little fousey here or there, little, you know, drinks or something like that. Just a little present, just to kind of show, hey, look, just appreciation. You know, and it opens up the doors, you know, and actually gets people to like you more, to favour you. You know, so kings normally do that. So it kind of shows who you are. Kings give gifts. Yeah, it's mad. Trust me. The mom said, you know, to Shay, take a minute. And this is very important. a lot of times in relationships, we don't take a minute. Like I said, sometimes we've got a foot on acceleration and we're so speeding ahead. We're so excited that we forget to actually deal with things at hand.
Right.
Take a minute. Just like I said to you about picking a lifetime partner. Make sure it's what you really think it is.
Yeah.
And we forget to actually, you know, to just slow down and just take account of the scene. I've been saying this for time. And when she said that advice to Shay, it's very important because they've got a little bit of a teenage love going on. And what we don't want is for you to speed up and miss certain details that you need that are very important, because both of them, they've got such fiery personalities. If they miss any details, it could break the relationship because of how fiery they are. Because of the fact they've both got pride, the fact that they've both got the tiger in them. If they don't take time, they could ruin what they have. Do you get me? Also true. Shay said also, you know, that she trusts her mum's judgment, and for me that lets me know that if you trust your mum's judgment, you know, one, that's normally a good thing, because actually parents can see things before we can, and sometimes we feel like we got it in handle, but our parents can see things. But two, also there has to be a balance. So you can't fully trust everything your parents are saying, because they're not in the relationship. You are. You see the person 24/7. They don't. And sometimes they can have a negative experience, and it can affect the way they see the person. So I was gonna say, like, you know, that I believe that Shay, I think, you know, when you've gone through certain relationships and you've missed the mark, you no longer can trust your judgment.
Kenobi. You say you don't like them, they out the door. Don't come back.
I know, and that's a big rock to carry. I'm not carrying that rock.
I know, you don't like it, but you got it.
I'm not carrying that rock. But ultimately, no matter what I think, it's what you want for yourself.
And that's why I said there's wisdom in the counsel of men. When you have a council of people who are around you, support networks, they can give you bouncing off ideas and opinions, which can help you form a more holistic viewpoint. A bit like what Ashley had when she went to her family. You know, her mum came in and said what she said, the aunt said what she said, the brother said what they said, and the boyfriend said what he said. But she had a rounded voices of opinions, you know, so it was important to do that. Obviously, like, at the very end, I felt like, you know what, it was so powerful, because they hugged, and then they were holding hands, and they were speaking, and it's like almost as if they didn't see anybody else. It's like, that's what I'm saying about the fire. They just looked at each other and never saw anybody else. And they never even broke, I don't think they even, did they break apart to even release their hands? I don't think they did.
Your eyes are killing me.
What my eyes saying?
That you really want to do this? And that you got me.
Like, unlike Alex and Tiffany, and the reason why that Alex and Tiffany broke hands is because the situation that they were talking about, they were being very frank and honest. And sometimes when you're being frank and honest, holding hands is not romantic at that point, in that moment. You want to get what you need to get out. So with Mike and Shay, it was crazy. They never lost each other's eyesight and hands. And she said, you know, very key. She said, oh, your eyes are telling me everything, and they're telling me, listen, that you really want to do this, and that you got me. And let me tell you something. When she said that her eyes are telling her that, what she's actually saying is, that's what I'm feeling from you. Because she would have never said that. If she saw the eyes, but she wasn't feeling that, she would have never said that. What she's saying is that I'm feeling that way. I'm feeling like you want to do this. And you got me. And now when I look at your eyes, I also see the same thing. And therefore, I correlate the two. And I'm involved. I'm ready for this. So, yeah, the Mike and Shay thing, yeah, I believe they've got the potential to go very far. They just need to check their tongues, like Baba said. And two, also, not let their pride get in the way of each other, because that will kill a relationship. I don't know, it's a bit of a mad thing. Two, we're going to drop either the Alex and Tiffany, Alex and Ashley, or we're going to drop the Aaron and Angel. So love, appreciate y'all, peace.